What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Sorry, excuse the voice. I'm a little under the weather, but the show must go on. And Kanye West has finally put out his album, The Life of Pablo. The rollout was very messy. I kind of consider it like a beautiful mess in the sense that this rollout is essentially what Kanye's album is all about. The album itself is a beautiful mess in a sense that it's kind of all over the place, but it works together really well. And that's pretty much what the rollout was. I mean, no other artist can do a rollout like Kanye West did. No other artist is able to work on an album up until the day before it's supposed to be out. Nobody can do that. He was changing titles, he was finalizing the track listing, he was changing it all around. He had this Madison Square Garden event, and then the very next day he said, "Here's a new track listing. I decided to add in, 6 or 7 more songs, kind of extend the album even more." Nobody can do that except Kanye. So I think the rollout was really good. I liked the rollout. Obviously, I would have just preferred like, hey, the album's coming out on this date, and then we have that to look forward to. But it doesn't quite work out that way. The album, to me, in a way, it kind of combines all of what Kanye West has done in his past career. I mean, you listen to a song like Wolves, and you can definitely hear the influence of 808s and Heartbreaks. You listen to a record like Feedback, and to me, Feedback is kind of like a toned down version of like what Yeezus was. There's like a little bit of political messages here and there, talking about the community and society, hands up and things of that nature. So there's that, but it's not like the excessive yelling. I think it's executed a lot better than Yeezus. I've said it in the past and I'll keep saying it. I wasn't a fan of Yeezus besides maybe 2 or 3 songs. But like even like the guest features and the structure of it kind of reminds me of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So there's like all different songs and just the way the album is that you can compare it to his past work. And I feel like this album is a lot more melodic driven than some of his past work. And I think that's one of the reasons why it wins a lot. Kanye has said that this album is pretty much like a gospel album. And it makes sense to say once you listen to the album. I mean, you have Ultralight Beams. Ultralight Beam is a masterpiece. If you listen to that record and you don't want to listen to the rest of the album, there's something wrong with you, because that record is amazing. Chance the Rapper renegated that. He said, "I made some Nick Candy, I'm never going to hell. I met Kanye West, I'm never going to fail." I love that. I love the fact that he kind of flipped it, from, Kanye's Otis verse, a few years ago. But he made it so it's like his own in a sense. He took that line and now it's his. I love that. And just the overall structure of Ultralight Beam is really, really just nothing short of breathtaking. So that's why, like, you can say it's a gospel album, and like the rest of the album too. Kanye is more like, his lyrics to me are more focused on simplicity than like being complex or anything of that nature. I think there's simple messages here and there, and that's what kind of makes it more of a gospel album. Not obviously gospel in the sense of like what what Kirk Franklin does when he makes albums, but it's gospel rap type of thing, a hybrid, if you will. I'm kind of torn between liking Freestyle 4 and not liking it, simply because I feel like it's a random song to include. It's just like a bunch of ramblings from Kanye West, and it sounds good. I love the beat, but the lyrics, I don't know, they just don't really fit into what I would want with the overall quality of the album. I feel like it's one of the songs that is kind of a lot lower in quality than the other songs. Like, my favorite songs, as I said, the album is melodic driven, so my favorite songs on the album are full of the melodies, stuff that really gets stuck in your head, and Freestyle 4 really doesn't have that. In the flip side, there's another record called I Love Kanye, more like an interlude, an acapella interlude, and I think it works because it's creative, but Freestyle 4 is just kind of rambling. That's all it is. And speaking of Freestyle 4, I gotta address the elephant in the room and that everybody's been talking about, Designer. I don't like Designer. I can't get into Designer. He sounds just like Future. And it sucks because Future wanted Kanye on Purple Rain. And while he didn't get him on Purple Rain, here's Kanye working with somebody that sounds just like him. Like, I don't know how Future would feel or how he's gonna feel when he hears this album, but I would be kind of disappointed. Like, damn, you could have got me on the album. Instead, you want this, doppelganger type of character. But I think out of all the guest features, that was my main concern with, Designer being on the album. Just him sounding like Future. And it's crazy because I doubted Post Malone, but then you listen to Fade, and he sounds really good over it. I love the danceable vibe of that record, Fade, and I think out of everything that might have some single potential in it. But continue talking about the guest. I think another thing that I think at this point I'm kind of nitpicking things. And I feel like it's okay to do because Kanye himself is such a perfectionist that he'd want you to kind of nitpick at his stuff. I think Highlights is one of my favorite records, but I dislike the fact that Young Thug's hook is only at the beginning. I want to hear more of Young Thug. But maybe it just makes me appreciate the hook more just because it's only once. I don't know. I love the Dream popping up at random times. Like, he's nowhere in the track list if you look at the track list, but he's on several songs. He just pops up randomly and adds in his little, 2 cents. I love that. Kid Cudi's appearances are nothing short of memorable. Kid Cudi as a solo artist might never make a good album again, but he'll always have a place on Kanye's albums where he can do his thing, and I think Kanye just brings out the best in him. Maybe it'd be wise for him to team up with Kanye for his next album and, see how that goes. But I really like, Father Stretch My Hands Part 1. I love just, Kid Cudi's vibe on that. He sounds very vintage. And, who else? Actually, I want to move away from guest features and kind of talk about there's an unfulfilling payoff for some of these lines. There's 2 lines in particular that I really just were annoyed by because they're essentially the same line, but they're different. They're different premises. First was on part 1, Father Stretch My Hands. He talks about the model bleaching her asshole, and I don't know, it just, the whole line just didn't make any sense. It didn't pay off. He basically says he would feel like an asshole if he got bleach on his shirt. I don't know, I just didn't get it. Like, you used asshole and then you used it again for like the payoff, the punchline part of it, and it was boring. The other one was on Highlights, and that was the GoPro. Talking about how he wants to put a GoPro down there on his thing. And again, it's pretty much the same premise. You put a GoPro there. He thinks he's very satisfied with his performance, so he thinks he should go pro, as in like separating not the camera but go pro. Like, I don't know. It just, none of those lines really made sense to me. They just didn't pay off. They were very unfulfilling, and I think I can literally talk about this album for another 10 minutes. I'm not gonna say it's a masterpiece. I'm not gonna say it's classic, but I will say it's extraordinary. Obviously, before this year started, I was skeptical about Kanye West delivering another good album, but he definitely did. The Life of Pablo is that, and I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at Sermons Domain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.